provide me with one of the steps between the existence of Atlantis and our present day culture. And as I said before, I'm absolutely certain that the coronation stone in London, the stone of destiny, the Liar Fail, is itself an artifact dating back as far as Atlantis, and is probably the only one in the world of which that can be said.
What is the basis for identifying these four cities with the four islands, Peleas, Korea, Timea, and Mirias, with Azores, Madeira, Tenerife, and Bimini?
There are only 4 places along the Atlantic which could possibly have been the sites of these cities and which carry in them legends of this past period. For example, both Goliath, which is Madeira, and Phineas, which is Tenerife, have traditions of the past of metal working, of the manufacture of swords and weapons. And actually on Tenerife there was a magnificent statue of Poseidon in a chariot with 2 horses, or even 4, in solid gold, which stood in the temple.
Just as artifacts in the Old and the New World are being linked to Atlantis, so too are even the deities of 2 civilizations. Here finally is Princess Ruspoli with one of these links, and with a tantalizing clue to what may have brought on the destruction of the lost continent.
There is a strange resemblance between Horus, the founder of Egypt, the son of Osiris, and Quetzalcoatl in Mexico. Horus is represented as a man. His shoulders, his chest is the chest and shoulders of a man, and in all his statues he is naked to the waist, and he has the head of a hawk, and he wears a veil over his face. Well, the Tuaregs wear veils over their faces, and they have very sharp profiles, very much like hawks. One would think, when one sees them, that they are hawk-headed. It may be the legend of Horus. Well, Horus had lost an eye in his battle with Set. This eye had been torn out. His whole face was probably torn out by the tearing out of this eye. And he veiled his face because of this eye, in all probability. Well, strangely enough, there is a description of Quetzalcoatl in a book which was written at the time of Cortes in Mexico, that is, the time of Montezuma. A Jesuit named Fray Diego Duran, and a very intelligent man, accompanied Cortes. And this Jesuit visited the sanctuaries, and wrote descriptions that are remarkably accurate, and he made little hand paintings of the sanctuaries that he visited. He describes Quetzalcoatl in this way. He says, he has the body of a man, naked shoulders, and his chest, he is naked to the waist. And he has the head of a hawk. He has a queer deformation on the side of his face and nose, like a wound. Fray Diego Duran describes it. He says that there are certain eagles, condors, in South America who have a kind of scar above their beak, like a disease. And he says that Quetzalcoatl's beak is like that, his hawk's beak. And he wears a veil over his face, a black veil over his face, like the black veil of Horus. And he has a pointed and very high mitre on his head, like Horus, who wears the white crown of Upper Egypt. Besides, Quetzalcoatl is represented in the painting of Fray Diego Duran, which is a painting which dates to the 16th century. He paints all around Quetzalcoatl's seagulls, as if he was connected with the sea. Besides, according to all the Mexican traditions, Quetzalcoatl came like a comet from the sky. As a matter of fact, he probably landed, and he's certainly very ancient. The tree of Quetzalcoatl, which is near Montalban, between Montalban and Mictlan, is one of the largest and oldest trees in the world.
But if we suppose that Horus came from Atlantis to Egypt, then how can we also suppose that Horus went west and settled in America?
Because it's the legend of Horus that came. People came who brought the remembrance of Horus, the legend of Horus. That's why they said that he was a comet that came from the sky. It's the legend that came.
Do you think this was the comet which activated the volcanoes?
Well,
and destroyed Atlantis?
I have no idea. It's not in my competence to research a thing like that, but it should be gone into. Every little detail should be examined carefully.
So Quetzalcoatl was the comet?
Quetzalcoatl came as a comet.
In our final program, we'll look at the catastrophe theory, including Velikovsky's collisions of worlds, and at the question, do we live on Atlantis? In this program, you heard Dr. Manson Valentine, Edgerton Sykes, James Thurziger, Princess Marta de Ruspoli, John Michel, and Mark Burton. Our series on Atlantis was created and produced by Robert Zend, with co-production by Tim Wilson and Len Shear for Radio Canada International. And Mark Burton. Our series on Atlantis was created and produced by Robert Zend, with co-production by Tim Wilson and Len Shear for Radio Canada International.